Welcome back. You are watching KTN Newsdesk. Many thanks for staying with us. And of course, our top story at this hour, doctors have been given another 2 days to continue with negotiations with the government. But this time round, the clergy will be acting as a chief mediator in the negotiations after they failed to reach a deal with the Law Society of Kenya and the Kenya National Human Rights Commission spearheading those talks. Now, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission has asked politicians and media to desist using the phrase political strongholds. While speaking at Karatina University in Nyeri during a 3-day sensitization conference, NCIC Commissioner Gitile Naituli said the phrase political strongholds is raising political temperatures and validating ethnic affiliations ahead of the elections. Gitile faulted the media for referring to some regions as strongholds, saying the reference is divisive and discouraged leaders from accessing all regions to market their policies. He said the whole point of a campaign for an aspiring leader is to convince the rest of the country that they have better policies for everyone.
Voter registration exercise, a simple exercise which is the sole responsibility of the IMBC, Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. The politicians took it over and they made it their responsibility, which was a good thing because they can mobilize the citizens to participate in their God-given civic duty of electing their leaders, except the politicians decided to choose the voters for themselves instead of voters choosing them. So they went to what they called their strongholds, and they told those fellows, kindly please register because you need to maintain me in my office. And this is how we create crises, unnecessarily, which crises we don't need.
When it comes to the elections in Kenya, I think the most important message from my side would be that Kenyans are in the driving seat. The Kenyan citizens are electing the government, and they should choose the leaders and the representatives that are working on the issues and the problems and the challenges they face, and come up with creative solutions to those challenges.
Now, there's a growing concern of rising insecurity in parts of northern Kenya and the Rift Valley. The search for diminishing pasture for pastoralists is threatening the lives, property and the tourism industry of Laikipia County. So far, 6 people have been killed and several maimed. KTN News investigation reporter Denison Sarigo has been to Laikipia County, and here's our investigative piece on the Savannah Scramble.
Kupenduka hivi ndio kumbe wanaingiza ng'ombe alafu wanakaa kungoja mtu akuja atoe ng'ombe kwa shamba. Akanipiga risasi kwa mguu.
Ambia mimi kimbia, ambia mimi hakuna nguvu, mimi hakuna nguvu akikimbia.
Sisi tukaanza kupiga nduru, mama akasikia akatoka akaona moto anashika juu ya nyumba.
Kauliwa hapo kama saa 2 hivi.
Na mpaka saa hizi ni simba moja huwa tunapata ambaye ni collared na iko na watoto 2 out of the pride ya 30 ambayo inakuanga hapa hivi.
I would say that the situation is under control.
Located on the equator, Laikipia, which loosely translates to a treeless plain in the Maasai language, is among the least populated counties in the country, but considered one of the highest contributors to the country's foreign exchange earnings. Sitting on nearly 9,000 square kilometers, Laikipia has in the recent past been rocked by rising insecurity that has shaken the semi-arid and savanna plains in Kenya's Great Rift Valley. When raiders invaded ranches in search of water and pasture for their starving animals, The heavily armed herders left behind wanton destruction of lives and property. The biggest statement being the shooting of the area local police boss. Laikipia County is now at the center of a prolonged conflict, pitting residents against the provincial administration and the wildlife conservancies that straddle the county that thrives on pastoralism, tourism, ranching, and horticultural farming. From the air, thousands of livestock have been driven past high-end electric fences, where hundreds of wild animals have called home for decades. The herders are fighting over pasture and water. The outcome has been a deadly clash of guns, bullets, and tears. The first killing at this homestead in the outskirts of Rumuruti town. Armed raiders gunned down William Kariwa Lotome, a father of 8, one morning inside a ranch. This was 4 months ago.
Ilikuwa wazee ilienda kuombana nyasi Karaya kukomboa. Sasa ikapewa nyasi. Sasa wakaenda kuishi ndani ya hii shamba ya kifuko. Siku hiyo tu ikauliwa hapo. Kama saa 2 hivi. Sasa tukasikia mapunduki ikilia bande hii. Sasa tukajua ni mali watu imeishi. Sasa hiyo watu basi katuletea ripoti.
The killing at the time, treated as an isolated incident, will later turn into 6 other killings as herders got bolder, raided more farms, driving their animals to the heart of the wildlife conservancies.
Sasa naona boma yako ina ng'ombe.
Hakuna. Silipelekwa.
Sasa hivi unakula nini?
Si mimi nakaa tu hapa. Nakula mbuzi moja ile ilibaki hapa kama mbuzi 10 hivi. Nauza ndio nipate chakula.
His children, 8 of them, are now staring at a bleak future. The shed where the family had several cows is empty. The widow is stuck between feeding her family and educating them.
Hakuna jina.
Hujapea jina?
Bado, nikitaka sana.
Mary is rocking her 8-day-old baby. The baby, the community says, is yet to be given a name, was born inside the space here, occupied by the mother. The Manyata, the mother had called home, was torched, allegedly by security forces.
Serikali akasoma, hata akasoma mlango ya nyumba na mimi niko ndani ya nyumba. Watu akaniambia mimi hakuna nguvu hata. Asimi natoka hivi serikali nakaa hapa, ile nakaa mlango. Ngine akaambia ngine kata kama iko nini mtu mgonjwa choma. Mimi natoka akaambia mimi kimbia. Akaambia mimi hakuna nguvu. Mimi hakuna nguvu akikimbia. Enda huko kaa shika mtoto mzuri. Mimi akasoka mimi nashika tu mtoto hapa. Mimi nabandika tu hivi. Kastoka.
Mary has been a victim of a group of ruthless administration police officers deployed to Rumuruti town, where tensions have been escalating.
Hakuna hata kitabu, kuna hata kitu yote. Hata uniform hakuna, hata chakula hakuna. Hata kitu ya kufunika mtoto hakuna.
So walichoma kila kitu.
Kila kitu.
Mpaka nguo.
Mpaka nguo.
Mary says all her earthly belongings were burnt to ashes. For the last 8 days, she has been sleeping out in the cold with the infant. The only garment for the baby is a piece of cloth she managed to escape with. 5 kilometers away, 10 other houses were burned down by heavily armed police officers. The herders here insisting security forces are targeting the wrong people. Those who have illegally invaded ranches here are still roaming the land.
Amekuja tu akaanza kuchoma kila nyumba kwa nyumba. Hii nyumba imeshomea kama mama iko ndani. Sisi tukaanza kupiga nduru. Mama akasikia akatoka akaona moto anashika juu ya nyumba.
Indeed, most of the housing structures burnt here are not inside the protected wildlife conservancies. Some huge tracts of land, such as this Agricultural Development Corporation land, now in the hands of powerful government officials, have remained undisturbed. Why are security agencies burning down houses of others, some of whom have occupied their current housing structures for so long?
The problem with the locals who are put illegal structures on those corridors where animals move from one farm to another. So there have been also there have been an obstacle to the animal, free movement of the animal from one ranch to another ranch. So those are the people which we destroyed the structures. We had given them a lot of notices to leave those places, but they become adamant. So we are forcibly to push them out. Otherwise, we have not evicted somebody from his own legal farm.
Hai, hata sasa hata miaka sijui kama 10. Ni samani sana. Kama ile 10 saidi. Ni samani. Hata vile wakati wa Sambule kwa amepigana na Pokot, tulikuwa tunaishi tu hapa tu. Hakuna hata mtu mmoja alikuwa anaishi Matikari.
The lead has delved into the alarming turn of events in Laikipia County. The conflict pitting communities here and large-scale landowners is far from over and stretches back decades. Local senior government officials charged that the latest incursion into ranches is an act of aggression fueled by politicians ahead of the August general election. Most parcels of land here have had their leases expire. Politicians are exploiting the development for political gain. The lead has obtained an audio clip where Laikipia North Member of Parliament Matthew Lempukel is heard rallying communities that reside here to rise up and do what he calls defending their land.
Na kayo nalikiro shola lerma jo tanay bangaga baki na yeye jikayu na yeye kaje kate jo marinyo kaita se tonobo ontai amugori yeuni o me yeuni meipo musambur dalakibia ni migiti de Laikipia tabati nang de Laikipia amugori ngarna Laikipia na nalma na ga mon ndaya jo encho ngoriyo amada na waka bagambaka kayu do na ga yeye mpaka yeki kaya gade jo meipo musambur dalakibia o yara o pejo o tiwaja lasima gago da Laikipia na nguluba. It's our birthright. Nimikiri nyosedi. Amma da bagilge ya waitini. Kaji de kipo, amma de kimpota samburu kaji kipo. Lakini wala galdo ngana dange jakare. Marankai. Mete men yongulu bala gibi. Nata ka mo nanta ya jo ma yu na jinga da ngare ngosha ga mete la yile limburge ngare ngosha. Ka ngor ngishu na ngor gona kulibo. Ngojo ngabe janchok.
The local police department says the Member of Parliament is under watch for such utterances that continue to escalate the standoff between large-scale landowners and the others. The lead got in touch with the Member of Parliament, but he declined to meet us, despite promising to do so several times. The herders are sparing nothing in their quest to find grazing land for their animals in what appears as a lawless county in the hands of others, now turned armed bandits. Stephen Lumero told the lead he came face to face with a group of armed herders who had invaded his farm.
Sasa vile tumetoka lunch tukakuja kwa shamba tukakuta ng'ombe imeingizwa. Mimi nikaenda kupika itoke. Vile nimepika itoke kwa shamba nikarudi kupenduka hivi ndio kumbe wanaingiza ng'ombe alafu wanakaa kungoja mtu akuja atoe ng'ombe kwa shamba. Akanipiga risasi kwa mguu.
Lumero had part of his leg amputated, but several months later, the pain from the gunshot injury suffered still haunts him.
Lakini sasa mahali risasi ilipiga juu si kubandishi ndio panapona kwa sasa. Ijatibio sababu pesa ilikosa. Sijaenda hospitali tangu madaktari waligoma, sasa sijawahi rudi kutana. Nasikia uchungu na mwana sana. Mimi ningependa tu serikali ijue vile watanisaidia kwa sababu mateso ile nimepitia kukinga. Mbele nilikuwa na familia yangu inanitegemea, nafanya kazi. Sasa hii hakuna kazi naweza fanya. Uchungu tu ndio nasumbuka nayo.
Lumero moved from his village to this village in Rumuruti town where he has been recuperating. The middle-aged man says no one has been held accountable for his shooting.
Hakuna kitu serikali inaniambia hata kidogo. Hata usaidizi hakuna, mahali mimi tabu tu.
The brazen raids of ranches by armed herders has left a trail of destruction. The torching of a ranch in the heart of Laikipia County and a total blockade of another by armed raiders are security agents worried. There is more. Now this is Okorian Camp at the heart of Muge Ranch, the second largest in Laikipia County, and staff here have been sent packing for the last 60 days now. They had more than 200 confirmations of tourists who were supposed to be here, but because of the rising cases of insecurity, the camp has remained closed. I'm told another camp up that direction has also been closed because of these rising cases. It is not clear how long this is likely to take, but this is having a toll order, not only on the locals here, but the tourism industry in this part of the country. Tucked away in the heart of the biggest ranch in Laikipia is a tourist lodge that has now turned into a monument of sorts. The last time tourists arrived here was last year. The numbers have dropped to near zero.
Tumefunga camp mpaka hata imebidi some of the staffs wetu wameenda manyumbani kwa sababu hakuna kazi. Tumekuwa na bookings for the last 2 months ambayo imepita, na hata hii mwezi tulikuwa na booking full camps, na kwa saa hizi walikanzo wote. So kwa saa hizi hakuna kazi mpaka imebidi watu wengine waende nyumbani.
Joseph told the lead wildlife numbers have decreased and in their place livestock numbers have swollen, decimating the ever-dwindling pasture in the face of a continuing drought.
Na mpaka saa hizi ni simba moja huwa tunapata ambaye ni collared na iko na watoto wawili. Out of the pride ya 30 ambaye inakuanga hapa hivi. Hatujui wako wapi. Sijui kama wamewawa, sijui kama wako. We have never seen them. Tangu.
The lodge that has a staff of 19 employees has scaled down its number to a paltry 9. The future is uncertain for those who used to work here, but have since been told to stay at home until things look up.
Ikiendelea hivi, mambo inazidi kuwa mbaya. Itakuwa mbaya zaidi mpaka inaona kama tutapoteza kazi. Sisi wengine tutapoteza kazi na wanyama watatoroka, na sijui situation itakuwa namna gani. Itakuwa kwa sababu inakuwa worse. Ndio, inakuwa worse.
The invasion of the ranches by herders has been blamed on the drought that has hit part of Samburu County. But some residents insist there is a hidden hand in the clashes.
Watu wengi hapa ni squatters ambao wanaishi hapa. Wengi wana mashamba kwa sababu hata ukiangalia mashamba ya hii sehemu ambayo inaitwa Karuao ni vile tu kuna mission hapa ya Catholic iliongea na watu wa hapa watafute pesa kidogo, naye mission ikaongeza wakapatiwa eka moja katika sehemu hii. Laikipia kuna squatters wengi sana ambao wanaishi hapa, na pia kuna mashamba mengi ambayo imekuwa ya shirika kama Gema, na wenyewe wako upande wa Central lakini hawaishi hapa. Ina create hiyo nafasi ya kwamba hata watu kutoka Samburu County, kutoka Isiolo County wakiona ardhi ambayo ni idle lazima walete mifugo zao pale. Kwa hivyo pia inaleta mambo ya conflict katika sehemu hii.
Most of the land here has remained unused, with the ranchers and herders drawn for the Samburu, Turkana and Pokot areas. Communities that have not seen eye to eye for decades now caught up in a tussle that gets more confusing by the day. Muge Ranch, that sits on more than 60,000 acres of land, has seen one of the largest invasions by armed herders in search of water and pasture. The invasion has left a trail of death and destruction. At the heart of the ranch, the lead catches up with this young man, Leyekule Kempe. In the company of his father, this young man has been on the road for several days in search of grass and water.
Sisi hatuna bunduki na hatuna hata nini mkuki. Kuna kitu sisi tuko nayo, tumerudia vitu zote.
Kwa nyinyi hamjaua wanyama?
Hatujaua kitu chochote. Hatujagusa chochote.
Na mahali mmetoka huko watu wanaishi aje? Ukame ni mbaya sana.
Ukame ni mbaya. Imezidi kabisa. Hata mbuzi saizi zimeisha, zimekufa zote.
Drought, hunger is driving them down into Laikipia, a county now weighed down by thousands of animals. But at the heart of the ranch, dozens of animal carcasses litter the once attractive and much sought after tourist destinations. The latest killing was that of an elephant this past 1 week. A younger one was gunned down inside the ranch 2 weeks ago. The animals are now rotting away, with the stench spreading through the once beautiful landscape. When the lead got here, we were met by a dead buffalo shot by arrows. A tour guide told us the herders have now changed strategy. They have abandoned guns for poisoned arrows. The sound of gunshots is giving away their location. Solomon Epukor has been around since the first incursion by the herders into the expansive ranch. Solomon says the number of wildlife killed is not only alarming but rising by the day.
Kwa rekodi yangu ile nyati mimi mwenyewe nimeona kwa ground ni nyati 13. Nyati 13 imekufa, ndovu 10 zimekufa so far nimeona. Alafu zebra ni wengi sana. Lakini ile idadi so far tumeapproach ile tumepata na bado zinaongezeka ni kama na 8 to 10. Ile tumepata kakasi. Alafu twiga nao bado ni wengi. Twiga ni wengi sana wale wamekufa. Alafu pundamilia, alafu hii tunaita suruai pia bado wamekufa kwa wengi sana.
Traditionally, herders have grazed their livestock alongside wild animals with minimal human life conflict. The killing of elephants, a dwindling population for the family of the Big Five, is raising eyebrows. There are more than herders in the ranches.
Sababu tumekuwa bora na Pokot pande nyingine, Samburu pande nyingine, au Turkana kwa pande hizo zingine. So ile kitu imetusaidia zaidi ni dialogue. Ile tunajaribu kuongea na wao na pia tuko na watu ambao community ambao wameajiriwa kazi hapa. So ile kitu wanafanya ni kwenda pale kuongea na watu, washeni madhara mnafanya kama ni nyasi ndio kuleni nyasi, watu waache kuharibu vitu za kampuni na watu waache kuua wanyamapori.
Dialogue seems to be working, but bullet-riddled carcasses of elephants and zebras rotting away have raised concerns that tourism industry could be taking a direct hit from the latest conflict.
I would say that the situation is under control. We are able to penetrate on areas which were a problem before. Our officers are on the ground very alert, and on daily basis we are doing patrols to make sure that these animals which have been flushed out of the farms do not come back again.
Experts are warning that with an impending general election around the corner, one that is likely to be politically charged, the search for water and pasture will get nasty. Political temperatures by politicians to gain an edge of their competitors is also set to inflame passions further.
Tunaona serikali ni kana kwamba ikifika mwaka wa siasa inaregesa kamba yake kuona kwamba wananchi wamekosa kupewa nafasi ya security yao. Hata juzi tu hapa hivi OSPD anapigwa risasi na ni mfanyikazi wa serikali, amekuja hapa kwa sababu tu ya kulinda amani ya watu, na ikiwa serikali yenyewe OSPD anapigwa risasi na raia wa kawaida atatolewa security yake wapi?
Hundreds of families are still out in the cold. The family of Nancy Nakali is living one day at a time. The towering figure that was once the father and husband of this home is now buried at the corner of the family land they have occupied for years. For Stephen Lumero, he will have to live with one leg for the rest of his life. The middle-aged man says he has been immobilized by a militia-like group of herders the government seems unable to stop.
I wanted to dispute the impression that there is insecurity in Laikipia.
Despite such assurances, they are quiet murmurs that with an election around the corner, things are likely to take a turn for the worse. Wildlife conservancies are staring at rising cases of poaching and killing of wildlife that has for years driven the economy of this county. For now, the fight pitting pastoralists against ranch owners and apprehensive community is far from over. The scramble for the savanna grasslands of Laikipia appears to have only just begun. Denson Sarigo, The Lead, KTN News.
Quite a report there by our investigative reporter, Dennis Onsarigo. And it wraps up our bulletin at this hour. Thank you very much for joining us. Up next, let's take a look at the big stories of the hour before we pave way for the business news. My name is Akisa Wandera. Sign language interpreter has been Maresha Owiti. Good afternoon.